This story took place in the city of Chelmsford, Massachusetts. The owners of one of the houses, being in the backyard, heard a thin creak, similar to crying. It turned out that a small ball of wool was lying in the hole and was crying pitifully, looking at the people. Of course, they couldn't leave him in this position. Furthermore, the puppy was alone and no one knew where his mother was. The head of the family called a volunteer organization, which immediately came to help. The animal rights activists who arrived carefully examined the puppy, and then the unexpected happened. It wasn't a puppy, it was a small fox. The baby desperately called his mother and sobbed bitterly, even in people's arms. But it also happens that even an adult animal is difficult to identify, as it is so different from its relatives. The volunteers, realizing that a regular shelter was not suitable here, turned to the Wild Animal Rescue Service. After the puppy was fully examined, it was determined that he was about 3 weeks old, but had apparently been alone for a long time and was severely dehydrated and hungry. The baby fox was given water, food and vitamins, but he continued to call his mother. The next day he seemed much better and hardly cried. Apparently he started to get used to the new environment. A few days later, the doctor came to check the condition of his unusual patient and found no abnormalities. It was only when he returned to the office that he was surprised to learn that a surprise awaited him. The volunteers found the same fox cub in the same place. Everyone decided that this was the brother of the first foundling, but it turned out that this was not the case. Upon closer examination, it turned out that the second baby belonged to a different breed, a gray fox. Plus, he wasn't that hungry or exhausted. At first glance, the two fox cubs looked very similar, but the doctor was able to see the difference. The first fox had a white tip of the tail, typical of red foxes, and the second fox cub was completely the same color. This is precisely where they differ, although gray foxes also have a white tail tip. As the fox cubs are still very young, they decided to keep them in the same enclosure. But later, when they grow up, they cannot be defeated together. Because in nature, these two species rarely interbreed. The second baby was doing much better, and it gave people hope that his family was somewhere nearby. Additionally, a team of foresters and volunteers were sent in search of the gray fox family, hoping to find the gray family's hiding place. But the miracle didn't happen. In any case, both babies feel good and are slowly being prepared for life in the wild. So that fox cubs do not get used to people, they are very rarely visited and fed through a special hole, and not by hands, as was the case before. Once experts decide he is ready, they will be taken to the forest and released into the wild.